Okay, so now we've got all of our molar solutions made, 0.00, 0.02, up to 0.10 molar. And they're all sucrose solutions. And what we want to do is find the effect of the molarity of sugar solution, sucrose solution, on the mass change of some cells. And the easiest cells to use for me are probably potatoes, although you could use anything. But the reason I use potatoes is because they're really evenly packed. And in this starchy solution here, they're all pretty uniform. There is a pretty homogeneous sort of surface there. But I need also some very homogeneous sort of units of these cells in order to control my variables. So, my independent variable is the molarity of the sucrose solution. My dependent variable is going to be the percentage mass change of the potato cells. And everything else, as far as possible, I should control. I should keep it all fairly constant. And so, unfortunately, I forgot my very large kitchen knives at home. I have this beautiful set of extremely sharp shuns, which means I'm constantly bleeding when I cook. But I forgot those. And so I found these cork borers. And here's how I use them. So here's a potato, here's a cork borer. I place it through there and avoid the skin because I don't want any skin on it. If I get skin on it, then it's not going to take in or give out water as easily as if it didn't have skin. And then I use this quite precise ruler to the nearest millimeter and I cut it using my tiny knife that I do have to almost exactly 5 centimeters. Now I can do this really well. That's quite precise. It's obviously a measurement uncertainty of 0.5 millimeter, so it's 50 millimeters plus or minus 0.5 milliliters every cut I do, which is like a 1% error, a 1% measurement uncertainty, which isn't bad. So now I've got this, and I'll do a couple more. Now I need to keep everything constant again in order to make sure this is a fair test, in order to make sure that the changes I observe in my dependent variable are due to the changes in the independent variable. If something else changes though, then I'm not a particularly great scientist. I realize I can't perfectly manipulate all variables, but this is pretty good. So I've now got 3 pretty well identical cylinders of potato. Now I doubt you're going to have a cork borer, so I suggest you do use your kitchen knives when you're at home. And I suggest you make rectangular prisms 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre by 50 by 5 centimetres, which means 10 millimetres by 10 millimetres by 50 millimetres. It's going to be pretty similar to this, except you'll get slightly more surface area for your volume. So yours might work better. It's just that I didn't have the knives. Now the next thing I have to do is get my solutions here and get my potatoes in the solutions. So the first thing I need to do, this one is 0.00 molar, so that's my pure water here. So now I'm going to pour this into here. It doesn't particularly matter how much I have, but obviously I don't want to run out of solution. I also don't want to put too much in because when I put the potato in, it might make it overflow. So I should do it about the height of the potato piece. And that one's a bit too much. You notice I'm not being all that careful about the volume. As long as they're covered with this stuff, that's fine. And then I plop them in. But obviously before I do that, I need to measure my masses. So here's the first one, and that's, 0. That one is 5.588 grams. And I take that off, and I put it in the first one. It pops down into there nicely. The next one, 0 again. 5.755 grams. And the last one for this lot is going to be 0 again. 5.745 grams. And these are my initial masses. At the end of the experiment, I'll find the final mass, and I will then find the difference, and then I'll be able to look at the percentage change by comparing the difference to how much the mass was at the start. You, of course, are going to be at home, and you're not going to have a balance as good as this. But you've already made a balance, I guess, because you've done this, at least in chemistry, you've done something like this at home already. So, when I come back for the next video, I'll have them all settled in there, and I'd better do that quickly because I want to put them in all around about at the same time. Otherwise, I'll give some of them more time than others, and that is something I want to control. So, see you soon.